Well, all right. This thing says I'm live, I think. I don't know why that looks so grainy. I cleaned off my little camera.
There ain't no telling.
May be in the settings because I kind of blurred out the back, but it's got me blurred too.
Yeah. You're bright and crisp on mine.
Well, as long as it shows up that way there, that'd be a good thing. Let's see. Get my chat up. All right. Don't let me scroll up.
Where's backtrack?
Backtrack, Mama Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had this thing scheduled for 5:45 because I'd set it up once, had it for 5:30. It wasn't showing up for her as a notification on her YouTube. And then she asked me if I went to the second page. Well, she showed me that the first time. I didn't remember it this time, and she didn't tell me about it this time. So we tried to go back and fix it. Wound up having to cancel out the first one and everything, thinking I could change the time back to 5:30. Got all that canceled out, done up a new one, and it still wouldn't let me change the time. Said, change the time so it don't overlap. Well, shoot, I done canceled that other one out. I should be able to set the time for what I wanted. No, it was acting like I still had it up, even though I had it unscheduled and deleted. Shoot, that ain't right. Something wrong with that. So, restring may be good in some ways, but a little snafu like that, they need to work on it. I don't like that. It'll make me have to change time even though I unscheduled and deleted the previous one. They should have took that off of there when I unscheduled and deleted. That just ain't right. Where did I set that remote? There it is. I'm gonna cut that down a little more because this just,
Piggy's hot, yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna turn that fan up.
Okay. Hi, Melinda.
And
Thank you, Mama Melinda.
get some of that cold air going. Ah, y'all probably hear a fan in the back. It's got metal blades, so it's gonna be louder. I gotta get some airflow going, get some of that cooler air going. Power went out the other night. 4.5 heat index where backtrack's at. Well, currently mine says 91, so it's probably a little harder earlier, so the index probably more than that, but not no 105. I'm gonna take my camera down a second. Y'all can still hear me? I got some running going on. I need to try to clear it out.
That's okay. Piggy got some stuff to get cleaned out there.
Yeah. What I hate is you feel like you got an ocean you're breathing through in there. And then when you blow your nose, it's like, that was it. But relative to the size of the hole, I guess. Ah, well, that little ring that goes on her phone for us to be able to put it to this little mount we got, I super glued it to the back of her phone. So we should be able to use that little mount to use in the car. But I still need to try to read the instructions on that other camera. I can put it on. I might put that under a magnifying glass to read it. Print so small, even I can't see it. Even when I'm looking over my glasses and got it this close, it's like, man, and I'm barely able to read it. May need to work on that sort of stuff. Oh yeah, that air off that fan is starting to feel good. So, anywho,
Unless it's 92 there, rain tomorrow. We've had rain for the past 2 weeks.
yeah. Linda said, heard the geese blowing. I knew they could honk. I didn't know they could blow. Amy, did Faith have her baby?
Congratulations.
I've been seeing pictures of it. I didn't know she'd ready to pop. But congratulations. So how many grandbaby that make for you now? Okay, that's what I thought seeing the pictures. It still blew my mind. Man, time flies. 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Out of that little body? Good gracious. Well, she did a good job. Tell her I said so. Dun, 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 dun.
7 pounds, 2 ounces. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Out of that little body. Goodness gracious.
I don't know who it was. I saw it posted on Facebook by a friend of mine. Somebody, they were like 36 weeks, and it said that the baby was going to be 7 pounds and 12 ounces. So they were going to go ahead and induce. Well, the baby turned out to be 9 pounds, 14 ounces
Good Lord.
at 36 weeks. Now, I don't know who it was. Like I said, I saw his Facebook friend that posted that. And I thought,
My junior, senior year in high school, this, my sibling and his wife were having a baby with this girl from school, grade above me, that was there having a baby too. She a little short thing. I don't think she was even 5 foot. Itty bitty thing. And she popped one out that was 10 pounds something. I was like, good Lord. That girl had a tough time. I mean, she was up to my, maybe up to my shoulder, and I'm 5'4". Okay. Now her feller was a pretty big feller. Here she is popping out 10 pounds something out of her short little body. I was like, good gravy. Yeah, I saw that put out there, Amy. I didn't get to be in there. Tell her my apologies. I didn't. Time I get up a little after 3.
Today, yeah.
I went to bed a little after 5 this morning. I didn't get up till after 3. So I was trying to do morning stuff. Had to wash a few dishes, make some coffee, having a couple of biscuits and gravy. Try to situate. Had problems with my monitor. My remote does not want to work. I'm going to see about maybe getting a universal remote to work that thing. And I mean, I tried everything. I had to reach back and find the buttons to turn it on the back. That was really inconvenient. Didn't want to hook up to my HDMI. I took everything out, tried to work everything. And so I put it back into my HDMI 1. Said it wasn't getting no signal. So I decided to put it in my HDMI 2. Popped right up saying it was HDMI 1. Wait a minute. I thought that I put that in port 2. In port 1, it was saying no signal. So I put it in port 2. It popped up saying port 1. I think somebody been messing with my monitor. Don't say it ain't possible, because I know when I used to use it as a TV, when I was done at night, I could turn it off, come back in here for something and see that it was on. Little power light showing. So I'd turn it off. Come back a few minutes later, it'd be back on. Like, all right, somebody play with it. Like, all right, you really want to see inside of here? Let me show you something. I dropped the trowel and shook it at them. That thing went off so quick it'd make your head spin. I had to go through that for a while, and they finally stopped.
That was fun.
Yeah, Lane saw it a few times. They'd keep messing with me on it, so, and it got to where when I come back and find it back on, I just skip all the other. I just drop trowel and shake it at them. That thing go right off. It wouldn't come back on unless I turned it off. So there's that. So I think somebody may be messing with it again. That's what I hate about some of these smart TVs. Manufacturers and people do the updates and stuff for them. Think they can come in and play with it, change stuff. All right, you gonna peek in on me? I'm gonna give you something to peek at. Not that it's anything worth peeking at, but I'm gonna give you something to peek at. Blue screen. It should be back up.
It takes it a minute.
Yeah, I might go back to StreamYard. Yeah, I mean, you tell her, I mean, I said she did a good job. That's a pretty baby. Just surprised me. I didn't realize it had already been that long. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago. You're talking about she was expecting. Okay. I guess the guy wrote on that song was true. Don't blink, or you'll miss everything.
Sorry.
But there's so much that goes on. You got Facebook, Instagram. Well, this one here, you just click on it to take it down. You click on it, put it back up. But there's so much stuff that goes on. You got all the social media platforms you might be taking part in, and then you got some games you might want to play, and then you got YouTube and YouTube community and everything else. How y'all keep up with it all? I don't know. I can barely keep up with two or three. I had a little flexible roll-up keyboard that I was trying to use, but it's covered in rubber. I guess it's just the wiring schematic covered in rubber. Problem with it is you have to push the rubber down until you meet the actual button for that key, and then you have to press down that key. And I can't get used to how that actually works, and I wind up either missing a character or putting in too many. So I'm going to go back to this somewhat ergonomic that we had got for her that she don't use,
Oh no, I haven't hooked up to the big computer right
and she don't never use it.
now.
And so I'm going to try to get used to it. I had it, but
Mm-hmm.
I had it over here. I kept messing up with it. A lot of times this finger right here, pointer finger on my right hand, it likes to do a little twitch like this, put my whole hand on. And sometimes I got a little shake. So I don't always hit what I'm trying to hit. So I'm going to try to use this other keyboard and see if I can't make myself get used to it. These times I see stuff on Facebook I'd love to respond to, and I just don't feel like messing with it because I can't really use the keyboard well. Now I can do it from the mobile device, but that's so small and the keyboards aren't so small. My big old thumb on that little bitty keyboard, I wind up having to rewrite half of what I write because it'll mess stuff up and then autocorrect and that uh, anticipative writing thing kick in and put words I didn't want on there. So I had to go back and delete it all. And I wind up hitting other characters that are right around the delete button. So I get a lot of them and I have to go back and delete that too, and then back and forth. I probably need to do the voice to text, but I kind of like being quiet around here. A lot of times she's in there asleep or doing her thing, and she'd be like, if she's awake doing things in there, she'd be wondering what I was doing. You holler at me, or ask this or that. Be kind of disturbing. So I'd love to have me one of them Apple keyboards. It's just a small plank with buttons that don't really push. They go more off of sensory. So it wouldn't be hard to push. I just don't know if an Apple keyboard would match up with what I've got here. I'd have to find out. Because if it would, and I could get one of those, probably solve my problem. For the most part. I would talk about current events, but I hadn't paid a heck of a lot of attention to that the last couple of days. I mean, I've been keeping up, but not keeping up. But it's basically more of the same old, just different situations with the same responses from either side. All right, thank you, Melinda. That as I talk, it'd probably be a bad thing. Evan!
Hey, Abby.
Slap the piggy season. Well, that would be interesting to see how that goes.
I've heard of Slappy Mama. Slappy Piggy, probably good.
Right? Yeah, if it's any good like some of them out there, and I know you probably could make something good, that name on it probably become a seller. Going to dip down a minute. Yeah, that'd probably become a seller if it's half as good as the stuff I've seen you cook. Never tasted your cooking, but what I've seen you put on there, the way it looked, I know it had to be good. See, I think you did a brisket one time. It looked even better than that we had at Rib Country. And that was some good stuff. Uh, all right. Back again, jig and jig. Yeah, I just don't like how that looks hazy on mine over here. I've got everything cleaned up, so it shouldn't. I guess you have to do the upgrade to
Yeah.
get everything good.
Hi,
Yeah.
Marianne.
Marianne Bimler. Well, howdy. Yeah, I don't think I ever put an avatar up on this one.
There's not a way to do it. I've tried.
Oh. Well, that just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Damn!
Hi, Dan.
I didn't see you slip in there, boy.
Yeah.
Saw that picture, whatever event it was that y'all was at, or had you like this. You look totally different in that picture.
Yeah, Abby, the label would be funny on Slappy Piggy, that's for sure.
What you could do is take half a guinea pig, the piggy, picture that, and then have Bigfoot hold him up. And then say, slap the piggy. That would be funny. Well, I put that little ring on her phone. I think I mentioned that. Boy, that ain't good.
Huh?
I said, that ain't good.
What?
I had that thing suction down. It's got a lot of stuff on it too. On that platform. I went to pick that up, that fell off. That ain't good. May have to experiment with that too. Well, how'd you get them on there, Avid? Well, she ain't been able to figure it out, and that's odd. Usually she can figure it out. I'm the one with the degree, and I taught her some basics.
Mm-hmm.
Now she knows them, and I don't. Ain't that sad? Of course, I stopped. I chunked all I knew, most all I knew about it, and everything. Ain't worth nobody listening to me, no how. Why keep it? So, anyway, I taught her a lot of the basics. I still have to teach her some things sometimes because she gets frustrated with something and can't figure it out. Okay, that's better. But anyway, Avid, you'll remember this because you said you got one, I think. But that little phone holder right there, and now that I got that ring glued to her phone, Avid, like you suggested, put some Gorilla Super Glue on it. It ain't coming off now. Not unless I pry it off. But we'll be able to, maybe tomorrow, put that on that dash. She'll have something to hold the phone for her while we're doing video. So, oh, he said he video called and showed me. All right. Mama Linda, did you get your Facebook figured out, straightened out, or are you still in limbo there? Folks, my sinuses are going to drive me nuts.
Oh, that's all he uses, Abby, is Gorilla Glue.
I don't think there's anything better.
Hi, Tina. Thank you.
At least not for residential use. Well, thank you, Tina. Make us something pretty. You got that flicky out there making her work? All right, that's a little better for the moment. I've heard those. I don't think I've actually had any of them. I remember those little sweet tart things in that little plastic roll. But the hell I do it. Sometimes I swallow wrong and it goes up in my nose. That's bad enough. I don't see no sense in putting something up in my nose that's going to irritate it like that. Sometimes when I do swallow wrong, when I've just put a fresh dip in, and I wind up having to swallow for some reason, and that first fresh dip infused fluid goes all up in my nose, and it's like, oh God, it ain't good. Like if it's like that, I just it boggles my mind why somebody would take and snort some powder up their nose. I know what it's like when I get a little allergen up in there, it makes me sneeze. I'm sure if I kept on with it, I'd become addicted like the rest of them do. I wouldn't care, but I just can't see doing it. Bad enough, I dip. Used to smoke. Do the dip to keep me from smoking. And imbibe a little bit here and there to keep things moving. I don't want nothing any harder. Of course, sometimes some aches and pains I have been tempted to go join some friends on their little bit of herbal remedy they do. I don't like something having me a diminished control of my faculties. Hello there, Marianne. Oh, that's cool, Mama Linda. I've got Instagram. I don't know if I got you on there or not, but
What gets me is they don't let her be on Facebook, but yet she's on Instagram and they're both on by Meta.
yeah, ain't that something? But see, she didn't apparently offend on Facebook, so I don't even have to sniff that. I can be 5 or more feet away from her when she's putting some pepper on some food, and the slightest hints of dust of it will get up in my nose and make me go sneezing. I don't even have to be over it. I can be several feet away from it. And whatever micro dust comes off of it gets over to me, goes up my nose, and here I go.
I can just look at the pepper shaker lately and sneeze.
Right? I got a my whole head is messed up. I got bad ears, bad sinuses, bad eyesight, and when I was young, I had tubes put in my ears 3 different times. I have that tinnitus. It's not quite as bad right now, but yeah, it's all got to do with stuff between my sinuses, and keeps me messed up. And I've got more allergies now than I used to. And this house ain't nothing but an allergen. And plus having the kitties, we're a little allergic to the pet dander, so that don't help. Yeah, I just about have to be in a bubble to start being able to clear it up. But then I've got the asthma. All right. I guess I'll take a look at that real quick while we're on here. Oh, wow.
I can't see all of it from over here, but that's 30.
Is that some sort of piece of oak?
Hey, Susie, welcome in, darling.
Susie! Is that some sort of piece of oak you're working on there, Tina? That looked like a light blue epoxy. I'll be anxious to see the finished job on that.
Olive wood. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, what do you think of it so far working with it? Going to dip down.
Oh, right. Mm.
I'll tell you something hard to work with, and that's old reclaimed wood. I've had a lot of it, and I make little things out of it. And you really can't use a power tool with it. You got to do hand tools with it, and you got to do it very lightly.
With my sanding it. Yeah, having pecan wood, when it's done right, it's beautiful wood.
Why is that, Tanya? Does it get real uh, fine dusty? If it does, you might need to look at doing hand sanding on it. Some things you just cannot use a power tool on, like old reclaimed wood. It's still solid, but when you go to try to working with it, it can feather out really bad, really quick. Now, I've used a planer, hand planer on some of it, and if you have your planer on anything thicker than just uh, paper thin, you're gonna get a lot of feathering as the wood comes up. Hey, don't worry about that, Tina. They obviously know what it's worth, and they're willing to pay the money, and they've obviously seen your work, and they're willing to pay the money for your level of skill. So don't don't belittle your own skill and time, especially when somebody's willing to pay for it. Little 30.
Hi, Tish.
But yeah, Tina, I'm going to tell you like I told the young boy who created the happy guinea pig character that I use. He wasn't going to charge us but $100 for it. It was going to take him 10 hours just to do the sketch draft. And he does a lot better work for other people. And I told him I was surprised. I was expecting at least 400 or 500. And he said, "What?" I said, "Yeah. When you want good talent, you pay for good talent." don't short yourself. And he's like, well, I really love doing it. And I said, yeah, but you should get paid for your skill. And his skill level at creating art is extremely high. Every every bit as good as Critter Creek, maybe a little better. But I told him, I said, don't sell yourself short. You figure in your time. You got 10 hours just in sketching it. Well, $100, that's $10 an hour. That's not counting the rest of it finishing it up. I said, charge your worth. And he's the brother of a guy who does a very big channel. I think he's getting close to 1 million now.
I think he's got a little over 800 something thousand.
Yeah.
Penny said that the customer had shipped the olive wood from Turkey. She believes had over $300 just for the wood. That's not the shipping. That's just the wood. And I can see that.
And that goes to say something about your level of skill. He's trusting you with something that's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, he's seen more of your work than I have and knows you're worth the money.
Mm-hmm.
Take the money and run, honey, because you're obviously that good. Don't sell yourself short. That's where people make mistakes. In order to get business, they'll short themselves. I tell you, I read a book once. I'm gonna give you a little lesson here. I read this book once. Had a bunch of different little stories in it, but this one sticks out. There was a woman who owned a store selling knickknacks and whatnot, little different gems and stuff. It was out in the Southwest. And she had some turquoise. And she had it at a certain price. And the product was not moving. Well, she was going on vacation and told her manager, assistant manager, or whatever, to mark them down half price so she could get rid of them. Well, the employee misunderstood the message, so she marked them up double the price. Them things sold like hotcakes. Little sales psychology here. People see a higher price, they think it's got a higher quality, and they're going to want it. They're going to think, wow. One or two things. Either it is worth that much, or where these people are from, it costs more than what they were going to get it for there. But either way, you sell something that's cheap, you're going to get cheap. And people may bypass it and overlook it because they think it's too cheap. You market what it's worth or more, people are going to buy it up. I was going to get into doing little plaques and stuff, and I was talking to somebody that was down in one area down here in Alabama. And she wanted to know what I wanted for it. And I told her, I said, well, I don't know. What's it go for down there? And I'm talking about for the cheap wood. She told me what it goes for down there. I about come out my chair. I was like, what? Anyway, things fell through. I wound up not doing it, not getting to do it, and all like that. But I found out they were going for 3 and 4 times what I was thinking about charging her. So she was going to be getting a deal. So I was going to find out what they go for down there where she's at, and I was going to charge maybe half price of that. Because it was a friend turned out to be a freaking stalker. But don't sell yourself short. You've obviously got the skill and trust somebody that knows you can work with it, and he's trusting you with something extremely expensive and hard to get. Take that money and run, honey. Well, some people do. But when it comes to wood and what they want, they know what it costs. They also know what it costs to get something done by hand. You got to figure that in too. Piggy, how you doing, girl? But like quilts, you can buy a machine-made quilt from a factory, and it's relatively cheap. Some very many years ago, I was at Dollywood once and went into this one shop that was a quilt shop. They had all sorts of hand-stitched quilts. I seen a small one. This was back then. It's 30 plus years ago, longer. $1,200. I think it was a baby quilt. $1,200. They knew what they had. They was putting in their time, their skill, plus the materials. So you take high quality material, high quality skill, and expertise, you're going to pay some money. And that olive wood being hard to get a hold of, and he had to pay so much just to ship it and all like that. And then he's going to trust you with that expensive piece of wood. It means he's got a lot of trust in your skill. That means your skill is top notch. You got to think business like, not common sense like. Business ain't common sense sometimes. You got to take into account what's worth what. Obviously, your skill level is worth a lot. That's right. Well, see, on the wood side of things, that's where you're at. Different craft, different skills, but no less valuable. Well, tell you from what I've seen from that little bit, if he ain't, he's dumb. So, I might have that. So, don't sell yourself short there, hon. You do a good job. I've seen your work. You're worth what he's paying. Don't down yourself and think otherwise. Your skill, your time, it's worth money. I don't know how many of y'all know it, but Atlas Shrugged, a book by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was a philosopher, and she was basically going along Plato, one of them, whichever one came up with the philosophy of A is A. In other words, it is what it is. Value or value. He obviously values your work enough to pay you a comparable value in money to get your work. You know, If you've never read Atlas Shrugged, you might want it. It's a very long read, but there it is. I love that book. I've read it about 6 times.
And watched the movie even more.
I have. There's a 3 DVD uh, set for that uh, movie made from the book, and it's as close to the book as any movie I've ever seen made. And you ain't got time to read, get the 3-part series Atlas Shrugged and watch it. They're about 2 hours each. But get the book or get the movie series and take that in. There's a there's a statement in there that I hold to be true. I will not live my life for another's sake or expect another to live theirs for mine. There's more to it, but that's the basics. Right? As far as that goes, Amy, give Grumpy this from me. Grumpy! Ain't that right, Tina? She is. I saw a couple of pictures on that. She's a little beauty. Like I said, Faith did some good work. And I'm proud for you, Amy. You got another grand youngin. Got to have spire foothills. Yeah, Tina, don't sell yourself short. You do good work. You and Eric both. You never know what the job you do for this guy won't open the door for others in his circles that'll see that and want you to do for them too. Money, 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 honey. You're worth it. You just got to get it in your head that you are worth it. Dipping down. Like I told that boy that did my happy guinea pig. Don't sell yourself short. You got to work in what you've got in it. Your time, your skill. What's your time and skill worth? As much as anybody else's. Carpet mill I worked for once. Many decade ago. I was at work. It was on Sunday. Well, I saw this guy. He worked for the phone company. He was in there in the plant doing some stuff for the phone systems in there. He got paid good money. So I asked him, how much you getting for being in here on a Sunday? He said, double time and a half. All right. I said, what does that translate into? He said, oh, about $100 an hour. Folks, this was in the late 80s. and he was getting $100 an hour for being in there. So he was getting normally somewhere around $30 to $40 an hour regular pay. And this was in the late 80s. That's a lot of money. And he wasn't having to work hard. It was mostly up here, knowing what goes where. Well, Tana, it don't make as much because you don't value your own time and skill as much. Think about that. Now you might still couldn't charge as much as you would for a custom order. I get that. But you could go up on your price. People would pay it. You just have to hold out for those who would. But you count in, you got to get the materials. Then you got to spend the time working on it. And then you got to use your skill to make it come out to be what you're looking for. I think it was Michelangelo once said he didn't carve it. He just revealed what was already there. Think about that. So how much do you value your time? How much do you value your skills? Yeah, you might not be a Stumpy Nubs, but I've seen you put out some mighty good work. And even that being said, you might not have Stumpy's knowledge, but you do have his skill and eye for quality. So you think about that. I'm not just blowing smoke up your butt. I'm telling you a fact. I've seen you work. Elaine's seen you work. Elaine has seen me piddle with wood and sees what it takes to work with it. So knowing what she's seen of what little bit I can do and seeing what you can do, she can see the work in it. Value your time. Value your skill. Put it out there cheap, it's like you beg it. You put it out there putting a value on your time and skill, you ain't begging no more. Here it is, this is what it is, you can pay it or not, take it or leave it. Not about being sweet, Tina. It's about being real, it's about being honest, it's about truth. A is A. So my little sis Bootsy up there in Mentone was talking about something. Her daughter is the manager of a little store that her mother-in-law owns, and she earned it because she knows what she's doing. And she attributes that to my little sis Bootsy because Bootsy runs some stuff up there where she's at. She runs a hardware, and she's been more or less keeping it afloat in spite of the owner being a dipwad. And her cousin's heavy equipment business and other stuff, he was going under. So he got her to going through his stuff and managing his stuff and straightening his stuff out. Dude just bought him some paving equipment. Start getting into paving as well as everything else. He is thriving. And it's all because Bootsy knows how to run business. So Maddie, her daughter, attributes her being able to become the manager, knowing what she's doing, because she watched her mama run business for all her life. So I told my little sis, I said, well, if somebody wanted to learn how to manage business, I said they couldn't do any better than to learn from you. She come back, she said, well, I imagine there's a little bit of bias in there. I told her, I said, little sis, not when it comes to truth. I don't, I can hate you or I could love you. But if you know your stuff and you've got it going on, I won't discredit you or uplift you just because of how I feel about you. I believe in truth. I believe in honesty. I believe in honor and integrity. So I ain't going to say something like that just to blow smoke up your butt. If I thought I saw something where I thought you could improve, I would tell you. I'm one of those, don't want to know the truth, don't ask me, because I don't give band-aids out. So you may see it as sweet, but I come from truth. I'm all about truth. So I either see it or I don't. And I see it in your work. So start reevaluating your worth for your time and skill. That's just all there is to it. Like one thing Lane had showed me, was telling me about once here a while back. Guy went for a welding job. And he had years and years and years of experience. They wanted him to do a weld. Job was going to pay $15 an hour. He told him he'd go for 30. And no, we can do $15 an hour. I said, all right, I'll do you weld then. So he gave them a $15 an hour weld. He's like, well, that ain't no good. So then he did one that was $30 an hour. And he told him, he said, $15 an hour, $30 an hour. Which one you want? He got the job, $30 an hour. They was trying to get $30 an hour for $15 an hour. He knew his worth. Think about it. Okay, Tada, he may have misread that. 4 foot long by a foot wide. So take it for what it's worth, Tina. I've seen a lot of examples. Been around a while to see it. Think about it. Folks, I've been on here what?
Right an hour.
Yeah, it says a little over an hour. Okay. Well, I guess my message for the day is out there. Folks, I guess I'm going to get off of here. Y'all think about it. Piggy loves you.